I'd like to call the Plan Commission for Monday, November 5th to order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Mayor Kodowski,
Here.
Jim Allen,
Present.
Allison Williams,
Present.
Ken Pukowski.
Here.
Corey Campbell.
Here.
Gary Paul.
Here.
And Skippington's excused.
Please stand for the pledge. And please remember all the men and women we have throughout the world. Okay, I have no changes to the agenda. If there are none, I need a motion, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the Plan Commission meeting minutes from October 2.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Is there anybody who would like to talk about items not on the agenda? Any items not on the agenda? Moving on. Action item 7A, action on a request to increase the allowable square footage for a freestanding sign and add a third canopy sign at 2701 South Oneida Street. Aaron.
The requested allowable square footage increase here is based upon a hardship request as documented in the Village's Sign Code, Chapter 17-6-200, that has a provision for exceptions to the sign regulations, allowing an increase up to 50% of the maximum area of any permitted sign. The provision to that is that it must meet an unnecessary hardship based upon the standards in the code. The applicant has submitted responses to staff's satisfaction that the hardship based upon the fact that under state statute, all gas station signs must provide the sale price of the gasoline. It's located on a 4-lane county highway. Therefore, you have higher speeds, higher traffic, and it is consistent with the other signage within the corridor there along Vanderparen. The applicant is in the audience. This was approved by site plan, recommended for approval by site plan last week or 2 weeks ago. A couple conditions recommended by staff is that the freestanding sign shall maintain the minimum 4-foot setback from the right-of-way and not be located within the vision triangle of the driveway. The freestanding sign shall include vegetative landscaping along both sides of the base of the freestanding sign, and the canopy logos on the actual gas station canopy, the request for the third sign there, shall not extend above or below the canopy.
Well, with the restrictions and, I don't know if that's the right word, with the addenda, if you will, that just mentioned by Aaron, I would move to approve with those restrictions.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this with the 3 conditions that Aaron read as presented in the green sheet. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. 7B, action regarding creating a planned unit development PUD overlay zoning district ordinance for certain land located at Lombardi Avenue and Marley Lane, Titletown District Development Phase 2. Aaron.
Okay, as you noted, this is a PUD review for Titletown Phase 2. This would be the western part of the development. There are a number of sub-areas as identified within the document or the green sheet. One thing to note is that the PUD itself is meant to be a framework of sorts within which the individual site plans for all the buildings will fit into place. So the PUD will be that framework. So the details for all the individual buildings will come through site plan review, similar to what we've done in the past for instance, Titletown Tech. That was the process we used there. The Titletown development, they are here in the audience. There are a number of different components to this development, including retail, restaurant, residential, office, and multifamily development. Few conditions based upon the submittal. Staff recommendations include coordinating with the Ashwaubenon Department of Public Works regarding a development agreement for planned public improvements to Brookwood Drive and Marley Lane. As part of this development, Titletown Development is planning to reconstruct Brookwood Drive. So coordination and developers agreement with the village will be necessary to accommodate that. Coordinate with the Ashwaubenon Department of Public Works regarding state and local stormwater management requirements, especially with Brookwood Drive reconstruction. Public safety, police and fire. Titletown Phase 2 fire protection diagram is the approved plan to be used going forward in place of the proposed fire protection plan included within the PUD submission site drawings. So the one that was in the PUD document was updated based upon coordination with public safety staff. Forestry is requesting detailed landscape plans when submitting for individual buildings. And determine the appropriate means of access and maintain the planned landscaping on the south side of the face of the fencing for the townhomes on the south side of Brookwood Drive. So I want to make sure that there's access to maintain the landscaping on the south side of that fencing. In terms of bike and ped recommendations, include additional bicycle parking at entrance M to the podium parking, and also include the installation of a Hawk pedestrian crossing system at South Ridge Road between Lambeau Field and Titletown. The Hawk system is meant to be an enhancement to the existing flashing yellow lights that tend to get washed out when you have blue skies, especially in daytime.
What's a Hawk?
High intensity activated. It's a flashing red pedestrian system. There's one on Riverside Drive in Alloway right now.
Okay,
So it's meant to create a stop condition for vehicles.
okay, thank you.
A couple items of note is that in the application, it does note that all the parcels are under ownership of Titletown Development LLC. There are actually 2 parcels that are under different ownership. They are owned by Mason G. Bay LLC. They do not oppose the PUD. However, they wanted to make note that 1961 Marley and 1209 Brookwood are not owned by Titletown Development. They just wanted that noted for the record. Furthermore, one additional item of note is in the PUD document, there's note of a large video display board that, at the request of the developer, has been removed from this PUD. It may come back in the future, but it's not in at this time.
Okay. Any questions? Comments?
Aaron, just a quick comment. All we're really doing is approving a PUD here. All these other items that you just discussed will come through the site plan committee as these buildings are constructed?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, that kind of makes it simplified. Thank you.
Well, I would like to open the floor. I'll make a motion to open the floor. I'd like to hear just a general outline from someone representing the Packers in 45 seconds or less. But just, you know, there's a lot to it. I was reading the book today, and I hope it turns out very nicely, but I'd like to hear an oral explanation of that drawing, if we could, from someone representing the Packers. So I'll make that motion to open the floor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Floor is open. Hi, Michael.
Hey, everybody.
Time is cooking.
We need your name and address for the record, please.
For the record, Michael Cantor. I live at 200 East 82nd Street in New York City, so come from a long way away.
You're a lucky guy.
3 years ago, I think I was in front of the same board doing the same
Sure you
thing
were.
for Phase 1. I'll make it in 45 seconds.
That's all right. I'm only kidding you.
Aaron, it might be helpful to put up.
It took him longer than that to make the motion.
Good point. So, to make a long story short, the vision for Phase 2 was to build upon what we think has been a really good start to the Titletown development. At its core, the development still has public space, and you'll notice through the center of the development, we're adding on to the 6 acres that already exist to
That's a
have
good one, yeah.
public space at the heart of the development. So that's always been important
Thanks.
to the club, and it's moving forward here. We always wanted to be cognizant of being gentle to the single-family homes in the neighborhood, and so you'll notice that the density of housing is townhomes along Brookwood, and then the multifamily apartments are on the northern side of Brookwood as part of what's more considered called Titletown proper. So we always were going to be cognizant of that in the development, and that's why you don't see more density in housing. It might have been demand for it, but we've decided to be more subtle in our approach to be cognizant of our neighborhood that we're within. Along the north side of development, we just have continued commercial, restaurant, entertainment, food and beverage opportunities. None decided to date, but to build upon the energy with Kohler and with Hinterland and the business with Bellin, we think that'll be sought after. And then we've also developed to help accommodate for parking what you'll see as a podium in which people can park underneath to allow for us to develop above. And that's where an office tower will sit. That's where the multifamily apartments will sit.
Is that the one that's kind of angled?
It's like that square on the left side of the page.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The angular buildings are on top of that square.
Okay.
So
All right.
3-4 years ago, there was a concern about making sure there was enough parking provided. And so versus doing a structure or parking underground, which is really expensive due to the water table, this was a good in-between where we could do development above parking, but still also have open space and not have a parking garage near single-family housing. It was something that we've always been cognizant of in the process of design. So that's a minute and 45, I think. So any questions, I'm happy to take.
I'd like to ask a question. What is your anticipation of all those homes being party homes?
Yeah, so there's a few things. One of the things that we're going to do, the townhomes are going to be part of a homeowners association, and the Green Bay Packers through Titletown will have certain restrictive rights in a private document that all the homeowners entering into that arrangement will have to abide by. And we're very cognizant that we don't want party homes up on websites like VRBO and anything of that nature. So there's going to be non-advertising covenants, but it'll all be privately restricted and controlled by the team. So the intention is for there to be users there on an everyday basis. We're trying to create a neighborhood, but I'm sure there will be some people who use it as more of a weekend place or a place to do gatherings on game day. But our focus has always been on 355 days that work on the 10 game days. So it's tough, obviously. There's going to be interest from users of that nature, but we'll do our best to try to make sure it's not inundated with that. And that's why we have multiple price points, multiple products, and the apartments as well. So we're going to try to bring as many daily users as possible to the site.
While you're there, Aaron, I wanted to ask you, what are we doing? What is the village's take and stake in all of that? As you mentioned Marley, we're going to change that intersection somehow?
At this point, there are no anticipated changes to Marley. Really, it's just
the intersection of Marley and Brookwood, that'll stay for
at this
at
point,
least for
that's
now?
changing, right? Or staying, I'm sorry. Staying. We don't anticipate any changes to that at this time. If something would change, we would certainly bring you up to speed on that before we move forward.
And what about the reconstruction of Brookwood? That's on our dime?
That'll be on Titletown Development. We have to figure out a way to publicly bid that process.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We will have to figure out a way to publicly bid that process because it will be a public improvement. But that will be on Titletown, their dime, so to speak.
Will that development be from roughly behind Kohler all the way to Marley?
Correct.
And you guys, that's Green Bay language. Your Titletown is aware. I mean, that's not a cheap process.
Well,
And I know you know your business, but
yeah.
you're good with that.
No, we're 100%
Okay.
good with it. It's always been part of our plans, and it's also part of our vision to create a really nice neighborhood and
All right.
streetscape. And,
Okay.
and so, yeah, we're well aware of.
Okay.
The-
So what is our stake then, Aaron? Do we have any? I mean, I know we have some overall here, but do we have any dollars invested in this, or will we have?
there's an existing TIF that it governs the expansion, but it does not contemplate additional public improvements as part of that current agreement. So they will continue to, part of the TIF agreement is based on an increased growth. It depends on how quickly and how fast, but there's a calculation that's done based on our existing projects that we have done that comes off the top. And then after that, there's a share that they obtain, but it's all based on the development that occurs. So
Okay.
I guess in some sort of indirect way, they are potentially getting it back, but it was not contemplated initially.
And the utilities then in Brookwood are adequate to handle this?
The first PUD into phase one really
Right.
anticipated increased growth over there, in part because we really just had large box retailers and we anticipated the townhomes and whatnot, so that was readjusted in terms of size. So that was done, and then they're trying to create a different streetscape, if you will. So part of their development is to try and create that atmosphere in terms of sidewalks and
So the answer is though,
layout.
the subsurface utilities are okay,
They're
adequate.
They're adequately sized in terms of a main, but they will have to reconnect all those laterals.
Yeah,
None
sure.
of those laterals, so they would end up chewing up the street, if you
Yeah.
will, just to redo that
Okay.
anyway.
All right, thank you.
Okay, another question, Jim?
Through rose-colored glasses, what is your timetable?
Yeah. Hoping that we get through this body and get approval. I think, depending on when the snow shows up this year, we'd like to be able to,
January 10th.
Good call.
That's when you're
depends on
leaving.
how long it stays, I guess. So the intention would be to start moving dirt in the spring as soon as the ground thaws.
March 10th.
I'll take that bet. I'll take the over.
Okay, does anybody out there like to speak about this, ask questions? Yes, Mr. Keen, could you please come up and state your name and address for the record, please?
I'm located at, I own Margarita's Restaurant and the strip mall that's behind there, which is at 1241 Lombardi Access Road. Obviously, the project looks fantastic. I just want to, I've tried to look through all the prints to see exactly what's the reconfiguration of Marley. I heard Aaron say that there's not going to be anything done to Marley Lane. As you know, the access that I got going out onto Marley now from the restaurant, this site triangle vision is really tough already. So obviously when they did the traffic counts on that study, there was 5,200 cars. I would assume that that's going to double and triple. So what exactly is Marley Lane going to look like in the redevelopment?
Mr. Michael, can you answer that, or?
Yeah, we can pull it up in the PUD. It's best to pull it up in the PUD, but
Okay.
there is going to be some expanding of Marley. It's best to show it. We also have Ryan Lancourt from R.A. Smith who can help define it, but where's the best one?
Because obviously you're going to have a lot of stacking,
Yeah, we're
queues
widening.
and all that.
Yeah, so the intention is to widen Marley, and we're actually dedicating some property currently in title towns to the village to allow for the widening. And I think the ultimate lane turnout, Ryan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have 2 dedicated lefts, a dedicated straight, and 2 dedicated rights, ultimately, in the plan.
And then where is the access on Marley from your property in conjunction with my access onto Marley? Is that going to be, are they going to be like, so if my cars leave there, are they going to be looking exactly?
So we're trying to work on a matching up. So this is what will ultimately go in through site plan review.
Okay.
When we get to the exact dimensions for building plans to talk about lineup, but we're working on a matching up of the entrances, and there's potential to try to maybe extend that median or take it back, ultimately depending on where we end with our entrance in the development. But those are all going to be things that we have to submit to site plan prior to build, so you can get the granular details.
So is that triangle going to stay there, or?
Yeah, the Marley condition to Brookwood is remaining the same.
Okay.
That whole turn situation that you have now when you head west on Brookwood, that jut out with the island, remains. None of that's being changed. I'm more than happy to show you.
Yeah, do you have, like, for this packet, do you have the overall aspect of how
Yeah,
that's going to
it's-
look?
It's all,
No, he doesn't.
but, so, we can flip through pages or
Well, you
pull them up, I can just show you.
I don't know
Yeah,
what page.
yeah, for sure. Not a problem at all.
Do you know what page it is? She can put it up
I
on
have
the,
to go look and see, flip through where we are, but. These are all improvements that Ryan has
Would
obviously
think it
talked
would
through
be
with
this
Brown
one.
County,
don't you?
gotten to this point. But yes, it's- you have your two entrances. But this one's not shown in this diagram.
Yeah.
You have existing, so this matches up, I think matches up to the one on your southern end.
They have some
Yeah.
preliminary
The way it looks on
photos
there,
in
that
there,
looks like
but they're
they're gonna
not,
look-
we have not seen the full detail on Marley Lane at this point, so that would have to be brought forward at a different meeting. We haven't seen any of the engineered drawings or how that might impact any of the surrounding
That
property
would-
owners.
That would probably be the engineering condition of approval, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Are we going to keep people like Mr. Keene, who has a definite interest in it, we keep him informed of, for example, when this issue, and other issues, of course, are coming up, did they get notice of this?
So he and all the surrounding property owners received a letter laying out all the dates of, that were known at this point in terms of preliminary hearings, neighborhood meeting, the upcoming village board meeting. We would certainly keep
So just keep
him
track. When this
informed.
specific issue comes up, that's when you need to make your case or do whatever you're going to do with it, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
But
but
it's too early
what are
right
you
now
looking for?
to
But I
determine.
got a lot, I serve over 6,000 people
Right.
from the restaurant a week,
Right.
so I got over 3,000 cars going in and out
Right.
of there.
That's why you need to be
Right.
kept abreast of what's going on.
I can call you too, Tim. We can call you from here and let you know whenever we have meetings about it.
I just want, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
excellent. Looks good, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Move to return to regular order of business.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to return to the regular order of business. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay,
So what do you need from us, Madam Chair? You need
We
this
need-
committee to up or down vote? Is that?
yeah, we need a motion of approval with the conditions recommended by staff.
I will move to approve with the conditions recommended from staff.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the PUD Phase 2 with the conditions of approval from staff. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, items for next agenda. Hearing none, we'll move to number 9, motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.